Hey, what's up, Dollhouse people? So I am modifying my dollhouse, which is the Garfield. I've built this one before, and so with this new build, what I've decided to do is move the fireplace from the original intended spot, which is to the interior near the staircase. So I'm also going to use a fireplace that I bought rather than the one that comes with the dollhouse. And I've had this one for a really long time. I love it. It's mahogany. I bought it with a little tiny damage. It's missing a little spindle here, but that's okay. I liked it. I want to use it. So anyway, I want it to look more like a built-in, and I want it to match the staircases, or a build-out, actually. I guess my husband told me it's called a build-out. So anyway, and I'm going to do the same color and the same antiquing that I did on the staircase, which is I used the chalky gray, and then I did that brushed brown aging effect on it. So I also drew an outline and where the fireplace is. You can see it here in a permanent marker, so I can make sure that all my measurements are accurate without the piece laying there. And then I'm also going to use that later. You see that black line going across the bottom. That's actually where I'm going to put my tape. My wiring tape is going to be right there. So I'm adding wainscoting, which I love. I'm making this using balsa wood. And I can put the type of balsa wood, the measurements that I'm using at the bottom of this in the description. So I lined up the fireplace, and I lined up each side of the balsa wood, and I made a pencil line so I could cut that balsa wood to match the exact side of each side of the fireplace. And then I cut it out super easy with an X-Acto knife. So I kept putting it up against the fireplace to make sure that it would sit correctly, because I want everything to be straight and I want everything to match, of course. So when it came to the fireplace, I love this piece so much. I was really nervous about sanding it, and it kind of freaked me out a little bit, because as I started sanding it, I started to panic, like, oh my God, I'm ruining this piece. And of course, there was no going back at that point. But, I started adding that white primer coat, and then I actually, it didn't make me feel any better, because actually I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, it's getting uglier by the second. But you will find that with most projects, especially if you've already been doing this a while, that every project goes through an ugly phase. So I just stuck to my vision, and I just kept moving forward. So if you'll notice too, and I didn't really notice this actually the whole time I was painting this, but I use the obituary pages of the newspaper. So no disrespect, completely unintentional. I really, like I said, didn't notice till now, so oopsie. So anyway, now that the primer is dry, I added that chalky milk paint in the gray color, which I used Artifact. Once that's dry, I can start adding my brown distressing, and I just use milk chocolate brown acrylic paint, and I just dip my brush in. I don't use any water. I brush off a lot onto the paper towel on the side, and then I just really lightly paint over the fireplace. And then I'll brush off any areas that I think are really too thick, either with my hand or like a paper towel, no big deal. And then don't be afraid to mess up. There are times when I put too much on and I think, oh, that doesn't look good, so I can just go back over it with a little bit of gray, let it dry, and then go back over it with the dry brush brown. So no big deal. I really like the way that it started to turn out. So one of the things that you'll notice is I didn't use any blue tape to mark off where my glasses, my mirror, but in these kind of cases, sometimes it's such a small little area that I can just kind of reach in there with a little toothpick or a tiny eraser and just scratch some of that stuff off without damaging the mirror. And actually it takes a lot less time than trying to cut those tiny blue tape pieces. I like the way that it looks. I'm not completely certain that this is the wallpaper that I'm going to use it in the finished product picture that you're seeing here. And then the other thing that I'm going to do that is not shown here is I'm going to drill a hole into the back of that little fireplace and add like a fireplace light to make it look like there's some crackling logs going on in there with a little bit of an orange tint to it. So I'm looking forward to that. I hope that you like the way the finished product turned out. And of course, I'll be doing many more of these as I go through this dollhouse completion. So please subscribe, comment, add suggestions. I'd love to hear back from you. And that's it. So we'll see you again in a couple weeks. Thanks so much.